POV, Miranda close black lens bracket. Holy crap, I could not believe what I had just witnessed. After seeing live footage of Charles being held hostage, my entire body started to sweat in a state of panic. How the hell do I get out of here? My hands were trembling since it felt like there was practically no way out of this dark basement. The television flickered once again and on the screen was a creepy face. The face began to utter words, "Dear mortals, may I have your attention please?" It said in a deep, alien-like voice which scared the crap out of me. It was clear that the killer used a voice changer to conceal their identity. Less than greater than. Approach the screens, now. The face commanded. I quickly rushed to the screen on the wall and sat down in a chair. Welcome to your last day of Avebury Manor, or perhaps your last day of living. Most of you will die soon, so listen closely to what I must say. The face on the screen then flickered into an image of Heather's dead body. When Heather died, there was a 3-digit code. If you remember it, go to the lock near the pit. If you forget, find hints around this basement. I blankly stared at the empty screen, only seeing my reflection. What 3-digit code are they talking about? I just ran around this basement to see if there was anything I could find. The first thing that caught my eye was an old wooden table with a chessboard on it. There were 6 black chess pieces on one row, 1 chess piece on the second row, and 3 chess pieces on the third row. I also noticed an antique pool table with 3 balls positioned like a triangle. One pool ball had the number 6, another had the number 1, and the final pool ball had the number 3. After seeing these 2 clues, I was certain that the code was 613, however, I stopped in my tracks. The riddle mentioned to go to the lock near the pit, but I just wasn't sure where it was. Filled right pointing pointer. Open black lens bracket POV, LINZIE close black lens bracket. Okay, so the code wasn't hard to figure out, but where is the damn lock? I murmured to myself. There seemed to be nothing out of the ordinary that would lead me to a pit. In the corner of the basement, there was a pile of random stuff. It just seemed like a huge mess. I dug through the pile of junk and all I saw were clothes, towels, baskets, yarn, hats, buckets, shoes, and then I noticed what seemed like a doormat with a red light blinking below it. I yanked the doormat out of the junk pile and examined it back and forth. Why is there a red light blinking below this? That's when I realized. This was not a doormat. It was the pressure pad that could have been used in Alfred's murder. I placed the pressure pad on the ground and stepped on it, which opened a trapdoor on the ground a few feet across from me. Below the trapdoor were a flight of stairs. I slowly descended down into the creepy staircase, and upon arriving to the bottom, there was a lock on a strange door. I entered the code 613 and the lock gave a digital message, "Please wait." Minutes later, I crossed my arms and tapped my feet, deeply irritated because nothing was happening. "What is taking so long?" I said out of annoyance. Finally, the lock gave another digital message, "Access granted." The door opened and led me to an elevator. I headed inside the elevator and the only button inside was UP, so I reluctantly pressed it. Filled right pointing pointer. Open black lens bracket POV, third person close black lens bracket. After what seemed like an eternity, Rod pressed the UP button on the elevator and it took him to, surprisingly, the lobby of the Avebury mansion, to where Lindsay, Alana, and Miranda stood in front of a giant TV. "Ah, hey guys, did anything happen?" Rod slowly approached them. Miranda looked around in a paranoid manner. "So do we just wait for the TV to turn on, or?" Miranda could not finish her sentence because a huge thick, white smoke started to appear out of nowhere, causing everyone to cough violently. The smoke alarm within the mansion went off. "Hello, are you guys there? I can't see." Cough cough asterisk, Lindsay said. "I'm here. Alana, what about you?" Cough cough, Miranda called her. Yes, I'm here. Cough cough asterisk, how about Rod? There was no response from Rod. Rod, the three ladies yelled. How could he just disappear? Miranda asked, attempting to navigate her way through the smoke. A few minutes later, the thick, white smoke fully subsided. What the hell was that? And where is Rod? Alana panicked. The giant television within the lobby flickered. On the screen was a message in a creepy font in dark, red writing, "Find Rod. You are free to speak, but when you find him, do not utter a single word or I will kill you." Lindsay's gaze grew wider. Could that be a trap? We have to find him. Split up, guys, Miranda said. The three ladies scattered around the mansion trying to find any evidence of Rod. Filled right pointing pointer. Open black lens bracket POV. Alana close black lens bracket. I rushed to the parlor and swiftly looked around. Where the hell could he be? I looked behind couches, chairs, everything you could possibly think of. But there was nothing, so I headed to the dining hall which was adjacent to the parlor. I ran into Miranda. Any sign of him? I asked. She shook her head. Nope. I'm going to check the kitchen though. I already checked every part of the dining hall. Right behind you. I followed her as she sprinted to the kitchen door. On the kitchen door, there was a sign that read, "Upon entering the kitchen, do not utter a single word or I will kill you." We headed inside the kitchen and there was a television on the wall that said, "Please wait. If you are in the kitchen and you utter a single word, I will kill you." Where are you guys? Lindsay shouted behind the doors, further away from us. Miranda and I were dead silent. I let out a small teardrop as I saw Rod's dead body laying on the kitchen floor with a trail of blood coming from his neck. He was wearing a strange necklace which made it seem like he got strangled to death. Soon, Miranda and I caught a glimpse of Lindsay entering the kitchen. The television on the kitchen wall flickered to the strange face. "Good. You are all here. Do not talk at all," it said in its alien-like voice. The face continued to talk. "You will all investigate this murder in silence. Keep your thoughts to yourself. You will then go to the library to state your last and final case through a recording. You must state the following: 1. How I killed Rod. 2. Why I killed Rod. 3. Any additional details. 4. Who you think I am and why. Whoever states the worst statement of the case will get murdered next. Nod if you understand." The three of us nodded, trying to hold back our tears. When will this suffering stop? I thought to myself as I quietly sobbed. Open black lens bracket POV, third person close black lens bracket. Once the three women finished their brief investigation in the kitchen, the maids Sophie and Beatrice called them over one at a time to the library to state their case regarding Rod's death. Miranda was the first one called over. She felt her mind go blank because it was so overcome by the fear of uncertainty. The phrase, "one missed detail can lead to your doom," echoed at the back of her mind as she nervously walked with the maids to the library. Recordings of everyone's statements. Note before you read the statements, and multiply next to a statement means the statement is incorrect or insufficient. Those with a lot of multiply have a high chance of getting a scared card and being murdered by the killer next. After the guests present their theory, they must guess who the killer is. Less than greater than. Miranda, from her recording I am once again filled with utter disbelief. I mean, you even got this whole white smoke thing going on. Lindsay, you raised the thick white smoke to hide your identity. Alana, and you knew that none of us could see you murder Rod. Miranda, in the kitchen, it seemed like he was choked to death with a black beaded necklace. Alana, within the white smoke, you come up behind Rod and use that necklace to choke him to death. Multiply. Miranda, that necklace, it looked exactly like the necklace from the plot of Liam's murder. Lindsay, Since you couldn't use it on Liam, you decided to strangle Rod with it instead. Multiply. Miranda, the necklace had glow-in-the-dark paint on it which I recall from the story of Liam's death. Alana, I think Rod died by choking. Multiply, but I don't think a strangulation can cause bleeding. You might have done something else, but I seriously could not find any other clues. Miranda, something did not add up. I lifted the necklace at the crime scene and found the tiny puncture you had made on his neck. That strangulation did not kill Rod. He must have died from blood loss. Multiply. Lindsay, God, and I believe you killed him because he was the last to arrive in the lobby. Miranda, he couldn't finish your riddle fast enough. Alana, God, and when everyone finally arrived to the lobby, you figured it was the perfect time to unleash the murder. Lindsay, Miranda, that was a really terrible thing you did. Miranda, Lindsay, I'm this close to catching you red-handed. Alana, if it's you, Miranda, please spare my life. Please, I beg you. In the grand living room of Avebury Manor, a great tension surrounded Alana, Lindsay, and Miranda. The mansion, which the contestants once viewed as a symbol of luxury, had become a dark abyss of terror. Alana's heart pounded as she entered the room with a huge blank television. She could not forget that every step and every breath was being heavily monitored by two sinister keen eyes. As she cautiously moved through the room with Lindsay and Miranda, she was fixated on the grand piano, a silent witness to the terrible tragedies that unfolded. Her focus then diverted to the television as it flickered. There it was, the creepy face that could not leave her mind. My fate is all in the hands of this creature, she thought. Greetings again, mortals, the face said in its usual deep, alien-like voice. Let me cut to the chase and explain to you how Rod died. Rod was the last one to arrive to the lobby. He was not only the slowest to solve the basement riddle, but after carefully observing you four for several days, he was also deemed the least worthy adversary. That's why he had to die. Must I say, girl power, as soon as he arrived, I triggered the smoke machines from each corner of the mansion to emit the thick white smoke. You must have thought I strangled him to death amidst the smoke. Unfortunately, the cause of death was not strangulation, or blood loss, or whatever absurd theories you three were thinking. It was indeed poison. Poison. Rod was poisoned, Lindsay murmured. Alana and Miranda also shared confused looks. The same poison I used to murder RJ. I used to murder Rod. Rod was poisoned to death by ricin. Amidst the smoke, I injected him with the lethal poison. One of you should have looked in the very top cupboard of the kitchen because there was an empty syringe there. There were also ricin castor beans hidden inside the kukui nut necklace. If one of you broke it open, you would have seen it. Dang it, how did we miss that? Miranda said. So Rod was not strangled to death. The blood trailing down his neck was all a ruse. I used that same syringe to make a small puncture on his neck. I'm not sure who my most worthy adversary is because none of you seem like worthy detectives. But one of you did do the most poorly. The screen flickered to an image of Lindsay with the dark red text, "Not worthy," below it. As Lindsay's eyes fixed on the TV screen, a cold shiver of fear ran down her spine. The ominous words that flashed across the screen, "Not worthy," seemed to echo in the silent room. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drumbeat set forth by the devil himself, a drumbeat of impending doom. Miranda suddenly stood up, grabbed a gun from her pocket and pointed it towards Lindsay. Alana gasped as her mind raced with confusion and fear. Miranda, I knew it, you son of a b*******, she cried out. There was a strange, slight moment of hesitation before Miranda pulled the trigger. Just a millisecond before Miranda pulled the trigger, Alana lunged at her, attempting to grab a hold of the gun, inadvertently shooting Lindsay in the shoulder. Ow! Holy shit, Lindsay sobbed in sharp pain as the gun laid still on the floor, a meter's reach from Alana and Miranda. The two women raced to seize the gun. Miranda shoved Alana and the two fought each other with frantic and uncoordinated movements. After horribly struggling, Alana finally seized the gun and pointed it to Miranda. Miranda surrendered, holding her hands up. It's not what it looks like, Alana. I swear, Miranda cried. Open black lens bracket POV, Alana close black lens bracket. I stood there with my gun pointed at Miranda. She knelt with her hands in surrender, her gaze met mine as her eyes were flushed with tears. Alana, please. I did this because, but before she could finish her sentence, a small red dot quickly appeared on Miranda's forehead and just an instant later, she fell lifelessly to the floor. I was paralyzed with fear, trying to wrap my mind around what the hell had just happened. I stared at Miranda's bloody corpse. She was sniped. By who? I yelled in disbelief. It had to have been Charles or the one of the maids. Lindsay cried, trying to ease the pain on her shoulder. Before I could gather my thoughts, all the lights flickered out, leaving us in a familiar pitch blackness. I despised this uneasy feeling. I experienced it twice, once during Liam's death and once in the limo, and this was the third time I was experiencing it. I clutched the gun tightly, attempting to navigate through the darkness with my gaze. Suddenly, I felt an aggressive tug on my hand. A mysterious figure was attempting to steal the gun away from me. My heart raced even faster as I heard an eerie muffled sound and a loud gunshot that resonated in the black void. The lights flickered back on, revealing yet another horrific scene. Oh my god. My scream echoed throughout the mansion. Lindsay laid there motionless on the floor with a growing pool of blood beneath her body. I was unarmed and the only survivor in this twisted game. Lindsay and Miranda were both gone and I had no one. I sobbed for a few seconds, feeling completely hopeless. Was that it? I thought. I needed answers. Why were we chosen for this cruel game? Was Charles really the person behind all of this? 1,000 thoughts squirmed at the back of my mind. I desperately needed the truth, so I walked out of the room and scattered everywhere around the mansion, even into the meandering corridors and sanctuaries I never knew existed. Each step sent a slight chill down my spine since I knew at the back of my mind that something completely unpredictable could happen at any moment. Finally, I ended up in a secluded part of the manor which was hidden behind an ornate tapestry. It was a door that was so well camouflaged that it looked like it was part of the wall itself. Pushing it open, I discovered a narrow staircase spiraling downwards into the unknown. I descended down the stairs and emerged into a small, dimly lit room. It was a creepy haven with walls filled with surveillance footage. Each screen on the wall displayed different areas of the mansion. Oh my goodness, is this the killer's hideout or something? I said out loud. It most certainly is, a familiar voice echoed. The lights suddenly turned on. And there she was. Heather sat in the corner of the room with a sinister grin. She was the puppet master of the game all along apparently. Heather, I thought you died. I was in shock despite my background as a makeup artist. She made it look so real. I thought, oh, Alana, it's always the people you least expect. I had some help in making it look like I was the victim. Why all of this death? Why pull all of these tricks? My voice was a mix of anger and fear. Heather turned with a grin. I'm tired of having everything, yet feeling like I have nothing. This game awakens something within me. I don't know what it is but I like it. She laughed quietly and psychotically. This is more than a game to you. This whole thing is a twisted form of entertainment. You're a psycho, I shouted at her. Ouch. You know Alana, my team could use a skilled makeup artist like you to host the next season of my game. I was in utter confusion. Your team? Your next season? What is going on here? Tell me. She stayed silent. As my eyes were still flushed with tears, I looked around her desk filled with papers. I caught a glimpse of a note that stood out, a note that was addressed to Miranda. It read, "Congratulations. You were deemed the most worthy adversary. If you kill the person deemed the least worthy on the TV screen, you will get the $1 billion. If not, you will get sniped to death. Simply do as I say or you die." The realization dawned on me and I was horrified. Everything made sense. Miranda's actions, including her slight moment of hesitation before pulling the trigger on Lindsay. It was all because she was in a predicament set forth by the wicked Heather. Oh my goodness, how many pawns do you have besides Miranda? Pawns? Oh, I have plenty of those. Miranda, Charles, Sophie, Beatrice, and now you. She smiled. I am not going to be working for you, I yelled. She then whistled and an obedient Sophie appeared out of the blue, handing Heather the gun. Heather pointed the gun at me. I quickly panicked and raised my hands in surrender. So what's it going to be, Alana? I murmured, okay, but what about the $1 billion? Heather's smile widened. Oh, that. It was never the real prize. The true prize is still being alive, sweetie. The money is just to entice contestants into my hellhole. Now, do as I say or else. A storm of anger and sorrow awakened inside me. This wicked, deranged woman had pulled strings on our lives, and she just casually viewed it like a board game. But why us? Why did you choose us? I clenched my fists, demanding for more answers. Oh, Alana, so curious. You and the others were chosen for what you each represented. Each of you was unique. Each of you symbolized an interesting facet of humanity from what I had viewed from your interview recordings before you all flew here to the island. I stood in front of her completely frozen and aghast. She did not see us as people, but rather as guinea pigs for her twisted experiments. You won't get away with this, I said, trying to maintain a calm composure. But I already have. The game is over, and you are the sole survivor. Congratulations. Now join me in this luxury, she said in a condescending tone. Words could not even describe what I felt right now. I had survived, but at the cost of the lives of others. I had to live with this trauma for the rest of my life. I thought it was all over, but to my dismay, I have been coerced into walking the shadows that would forever haunt the halls of Avebury Manor. I made up my mind and slowly backed away from Heather. Fine. I'll play your game for now. But I will end all of this. You won't get away with this. She paused for a moment and then spoke. Very well. Let's see how long you last. But do remember, you're in my world now. I saw something in her eyes as she spoke. Was it doubt, or fear? The fear of the unpredictability of human nature. I expected she was more than prepared in case us form, Charles, Sophie, and Beatrice revolted on her, but maybe she was fearful that we would craft some tricks up our sleeves. Avebury Manor was no longer a prison, but rather a battleground. Heather thought she had seen it all, but I was fired with determination to show her that we were not just mindless pieces on a chessboard. As the sun set on the hazy mansion, I realized that this was just the beginning of an even bigger battle. Heather's overconfidence in her game was her greatest weakness, and I was going to take full advantage of that. The battle for justice was just beginning. Filled right pointing pointer. Open black lens bracket fin close black lens bracket.